Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Nick here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Joaquin, and they're selling their Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Joaquin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing, Nick?
I'm doing excellent, and I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of that business. So it's an Amazon FBA business in the food and beverages niche, created in January of 2011. The average monthly revenue for the business is $68,585 and makes an average of $13,238 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 55471 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's go over what's included in the sale. Included in the sale is an Amazon Seller Central account with 8 SKUs, domains and all site content and files, customer postal address list of over 17,000 customer addresses, an email list of over 4,000 subscribers, competitor insights, supplier relationships, SOPs, trademarks, website marketing and design materials, and inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to verified buyers. All right, so Joaquin, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Well, this is my first particular one, which I had built from scratch and own. However, I had done about 15 years of advertising and design in New York City and came in contact with all different kind of brands and was responsible for their visual and advertising, the marketing, also the design of the products. And I decided around 2005 that I wanted to do my own thing and came across on the islands a small rundown farm where I felt very comfortable living and prepping it back up to its former glory. And I intended to grow an upscale food product. I saw the need in that in the United States and the lack of support and strong brands, especially in coffee. My desire to work physically outdoors for a few hours every day came probably back from childhood. However, I didn't want to stretch it too much. I liked my desk job as well. And after a number of years, the produced coffee had taken off in sales, that I purchased additional coffee from neighbor farmers. In about 4 years, I turned my back to the islands. The farm was sold. However, I kept on running the business and I brought my sales over from my existing website to the Amazon FBA. And that worked pretty nice, I must say.
Very nice. So going from New York City to the islands, and it sounds like things went pretty well. So why did you decide to go specifically into Amazon FBA?
Originally, I had built my own e-commerce website, and I handled the shipping, the packing, everything from growing the coffee to processing it into its raw form of green coffee, done the roasting, the packaging, so I knew exactly how it ran. And I was able then to understand what the key points and components were I needed to build in between. Amazon FBA grew at the same time, and I watched it first from the sideline, then worked with Amazon as a third-party seller. But I increasingly needed to free my time because I didn't want to become a packing shipping company, and Amazon was just working flawlessly on that one.
Yep, that makes sense. So I guess with everything seeming to going pretty well at the moment, why are you deciding to sell the business?
One reason is very simple is I'm getting a bit older and maybe I'm not that hungry for success anymore, where I would put in another 3, 4 years. But I also see that the business is now at a level where it gets too big for me to do it alone. It's something where Amazon grows fast and more opportunities come up within it every day, basically. More apps are available to help you. There are also Amazon advising companies, which I started using one of them. And I see that since the pandemic hit, coffee sales were even stronger, all of Amazon. But in the food niche, you got extra advantage that Amazon handled the shipment with a high urgency, where other products were just put on the back burner. And suddenly I also noticed that several companies were interested in buying my business because apparently it was becoming a bit more noticeable. And I did not want to follow that without any serious advice. And at that time, I let Empire take the lead and see what the experts think, how I structure it, how I was doing, how the numbers are. And so here I am.
Yeah, very nice. And I did notice, so you said you were becoming more noticed. And I did notice that you had some unique components to marketing with this business. So could you tell us a little bit about what you currently do in terms of marketing?
It's hard to analyze all these different things, which I've done over the years, but I do not do much advertising. I just launched a new product and I used the vinyl reviews, which Amazon gives you for free when you don't have many. I actually used it to relaunch the product of ground coffee, which I haven't sold for quite some time, but that actually brought up the ranking right away. The other part is that I really looked at my packages pop out on the pages where I always hope for the first page on related searches, but even on the mobiles, it has to show. It's our whole visual component changed so quickly over the last 15, 20 years. Our viewing habits also changed. Of course, we strain our eyes more when we look at small thumbnails, but your product has to be recognizable. So the branding I had designed and built for it works perfectly into it. So years ago, when I launched the brand, I had used Google AdWords. That worked pretty well, but there's a shift of people going for product searches to Amazon. To Google, you go for knowledge and for seeing, let's say, a flashy website. But when you are efficiently want to search something, most of the people use now, and especially Amazon, on their mobile devices.
Yep, definitely. So on that note, if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
There are several different sizes which seems to be in demand: 4 ounce, 8 ounce, 7 ounce. That's something more of an introductory product where people ask for it. I haven't really touched that. Then definitely expanding Amazon to Japan. They're really keen on these particular coffee. Canada, Singapore, Germany, the UK. These are all things which I didn't touch because I didn't want to deal with possible taxations and import duties. But Amazon is doing a terrific job of figuring this out for different sellers. I haven't done that yet. I would also reactivate the website and utilize Amazon FBA for the fulfillment part. That was something which wasn't possible before, similar to a Shopify store via Amazon FBA. And then I would look into periphery products, like food products like chocolate, tea, coffee, beverages with an island theme, or non-food items like mugs, t-shirts, baseball caps. I've done in the past t-shirts and coasters, which were really, really liked with a brand image. And then the other big one would be to partner with cafes and stores, even coffee chains, maybe go into resorts with 2 or 3 freestanding stores. That is, I think, a market where really big brands will take notice and big corporations take notice of that particular coffee.
Just listening to you, it sounds like there are a ton of different opportunities for growth. Now, for interested buyers who are willing to just maintain the business, can you describe the type of work, maybe for somebody who's not familiar with the niche or who just wants to maintain? What type of work is involved or what skills are involved in maintaining this business?
Well, one thing is you got to love coffee. I always joke that I personally don't like onions. I would have never been a good onion salesperson or farmer, to trace the differences. And I think passion for the product really, really helps, regardless what you sell. It communicates with the customer in unforeseen ways. It could be a phone conversation, but it also could be how you photograph, how you present something, and how you interact in answering a review. You should spend some times on the islands. Of course, it would be tax deductible then, and getting to know the suppliers to see how they grow, what their problems are. Then it's much easier to understand the whole chain. And also, it's very important. Never forget to shop on Amazon and see how this system treats you. I always found it very rewarding to connect to customers, to connect to them on the feedback page. And when they have a little issue, it may sound very dumb, but sometimes they have very naive questions about coffee. And don't lecture them, relate and engage them. It goes a long way.
Yep, that's great. So, with all of these opportunities and with, I guess, the different components of this business, comes certain risks. Selling on Amazon, what would you say are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
Probably that Amazon grows in hard to predict ways. Sometimes you feel there are so many good ideas coming down from the top, but on the other side, nobody's really at the helm. They don't mean necessarily be against the seller. They live off the sellers, but they can't control governments. And governments, when they decide, for instance, we're splitting Amazon in different divisions, it could be good or it could be bad. You cannot take the Amazon as it is today, granted for more than a quarter of a year. I only experienced it positive. There were small things where I would say you couldn't answer. When there was a bad review, you couldn't give a comment anymore. That was something I really missed. But you get over it. They're cracking down on fake reviews. So there's a good part to it. But again, as it is unpredictable, I would say this is the biggest component, if there would be a risk. Otherwise, I would say coffee by itself, especially good coffee, is very risk averse. In 2008, when basically I really started selling online, the business grew. And that was a time of the housing crisis. And many, many people lost their jobs. And some customers told me, I need a good coffee to get over this. And I am staying at home, and the same in the pandemic. People wanted to have a good coffee just to balance their mood. So the product by itself, especially because it's an American product, is something where there's so many angles where you can market it.
Yeah. And actually, that leads very nicely into the next question, which is putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer. Why do you think this is a business worth buying?
It's rather simple because it's very tangible and real. The product tastes good, it's healthy, coffee is cool, makes people talk about it. When times are good, people love a great coffee. As I said before, when times are bad, they really need good coffee. The sales are steady and the business is growing consistently. My biggest motivator on every day was the product makes people happy. And it goes down nicely when you have a bad day, when somebody calls and wants to talk with you about coffee. And I like that.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And last few questions for you, just to wrap things up here, is would you commit to a non-compete for this business?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I do not want to open another business in the next few years. I will not say never, but I think this is my big business, which I'm proud of, and close after that my career path.
All right. And how much support are you offering buyers?
I think I will go past this traditional 30-day thing because the holiday season is upon us and December is normally double the sales. So the next 3 months, I would be definitely approachable and supportive via email and phone calls all the time for somebody who would really like to have this my baby taken over and making grow further. Absolutely.
Yep, that's wonderful. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Sure, if the price is right. I take the long view, of course. When the structure and the match is perfect, why not?
Okay, great. And last question is there anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
One thought was something which drove me over the last few months. There is such a merging going on a worldwide scale of huge corporations buying coffee on all different scales. And companies like Darboven or Benckiser, the Starbucks, the Tim Hortons, Folgers, it seems to be that they don't really invest in brand building, but rather buy small, catchy brands. And I think my long-term vision is that in a year or two, especially if there's some freestanding stores, they will take notice and they will see definitely how Amazon is beating more and more into their margins on stores, because the freshness of the coffee which I send out is actually quicker than I would have sent it from the farm by using the Amazon FBA. And I think that's important for many coffee drinkers.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing that last part. And I think that's the perfect point to wrap this up. So, Joaquin, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. I do hope your business is purchased by the right buyer in the near future.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 55471. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.